Hello vinyl record collectors. Today I thought I would show some of the Beach Boy albums that I have in my collection. That's a group where just about everybody has at least one or two Beach Boy albums in their collection. They're pretty easy to come by. I know most of the albums I have I got at the local flea market a number of years ago, and pretty much every one of them was in the $3 bin, with the exception of Pet Sounds, which goes for considerably more money. So, of course, the Beach Boys formed in the very early 60s out of California, and consists of Brian Dennis and Carl Wilson, Mike Love, and Al Jardine. The first album I have is Surfin' Safari, released in 1962. Reached number 32 on the US charts. All the Beach Boy albums up until 1967 I think will be on the Capitol label. Surfin' USA, 1963, reached number 2 on the charts, US charts. Surfer Girl, released in 1963, had the hit In My Room. It reached number 7 on the charts, I believe it was. Little Deuce Coupe, 1963, reached number 4 on the charts. By 1963, Brian Wilson had started using the Wrecking Crew as some of his musicians for recording. That is, you'll see that in the documentary, The Wrecking Crew, where some of the members discuss working with Brian Wilson. Shutdown Volume 2, released in 1964, reached 13 on the charts. In 1964, the Beach Boys performed on The Tammy Show, which is released on DVD. I think I've shown it in one of my other videos. Around 1964, the first live concert album was released, Beach Boys in Concert. All Summer Long, 1964, reached number 4 on the charts. Had the hit I Get Around. The band is looking very clean cut there. Also in 1964 they released a Christmas album, which I don't have, and I can't recall even ever seeing it, at least not in the flea markets and vinyl shows I went to. One thing that also happened in 1964, of course, is the British invasion with the Beatles. The Beatles were on the same label, Capitol, and around 1964, some of the management people for the Beach Boys were getting a sense that Capitol was sort of pushing them off to one side and to make way more for the Beatles. The Beatles were getting preference, which wasn't going over well with some of the Beach Boys management. So we have here Summer Days, which is 1965, reached number 2 on the charts. I think it was around 1965 that Brian Wilson, or maybe he was even 64, Brian Wilson stopped touring with the band for a bit to concentrate on music and some music production. And as a result, he was replaced by Glenn Campbell, which I was not aware of. So I think it was around 64 and 65. Glenn Campbell toured with the band as a guitar player, and then eventually, of course, Glenn Campbell left because he himself was becoming quite popular as an individual artist. Of course, everyone, Pet Sounds, the one that goes for money on eBay. This came out in 1966, reached number 10 on the charts. And Wouldn't It Be Nice is the one I can remember hearing on the radio all the time on that one. That was the mono version. I also have that Duphonic stereo. If I ever have a choice, I always choose mono over stereo. The next one in my collection is Smiley Smile, which is 1967, reaching 41 on the charts. This one had a rendition of Good Vibrations. I believe it is not exactly the same rendition as was the single released in 66, I think it was. But nonetheless, Good Vibrations is on there. The next one I have in my collection is Wild Honey, which I think is 1967. And I think it reached 24 on the charts. And the next one in my collection is Sursa. Yep. This came out in 1971. Reached 29 on the charts. By now, they have left the Capitol label, and we're on the sort of the brother label, which is their label. I think the distributor was Reprise. Next one in my collection is Holland, 1973, and it's got the single in there as well that came with it. This reached 36 on the charts. Of course, then around 1968, I think it was Dennis Wilson met up with the infamous Charles Manson, and they spent a bit of time together at Brian Wilson's house recording some songs. I don't think the relationship lasted very long because Brian Wilson did not like Charles Manson. I've heard that one song written by Charles Manson was recorded by the Beach Boys under a different title, but can't say for sure. The last album I have is some kind of reissue. Don't know, I must have picked this out of a flea market somewhere. And simply this one has the barcode, so it must be a fairly recent one. Help Me Rhonda is on there. So obviously I think it's a selection from various LPs probably. Don't know too much about that one. So that's pretty much it for the Beach Boys. One thing also, in 1969, their contract with Capitol, when it ran out, Capitol really completely shut down the catalog there for a while, which cut off royalties for the Beach Boys. So obviously there must have been some bitter feelings between the Beach Boys and Capitol Records at some point during the late 60s. Of course, later on, the Capitol started releasing greatest hits and compilations of the Beach Boys. Probably anything to make a buck. So anyway, once again, I'd like to thank you for watching, and have a great day.